hopefully that's dark enough. I just use graphite. I just use a graphite pencil for the oil ones because, I mean, it's oil. You're gonna like paint, and plus it doesn't doesn't seem to graphite doesn't seem to like smear around as much. You just don't use like a really soft graphite. Just use one of the harder ones. Like this was a 2H, I think, pencil. So I have my lines where I'll.
What's that board?
Hopefully, oh yeah. This is the gesso board, which I really like. I brought some of my oil panels. I've used the ones. I've used Raymar that has like the weave, the linen texture, and I've used this is like the Raymar, and that's okay. But when
I didn't know either.
right about when Carol Marine said that she really liked the smoothness of the gesso board, and it seems I just have this one and this one and this one, so I'll pass that around but I really like the gesso board for oil painting, especially small. I guess because you can get smoother, you can get like better detail, and it's not so bumpy like the linen stuff is. So that's what I'm using. I'm using gesso board. It's made by Ampersand. The same people that make the pastel board. All right, so this is just my my Gamsol odorless mineral spirits, and I'm gonna get some umber, my burnt umber.
I don't know, but it's
just yeah. And I'm just thinning it down. It's pretty thin already, actually, but I'm just using the mineral spirits to thin it down, getting enough on my brush so that I can do this and wash the whole board.
How will you see anything?
Well, hopefully I'll still be able to see everything. If I obliterate my drawing, I'll just have to draw it again. Real lightly. Because you can like keep rubbing this off until it's all gone if you want to. But I like it a nice mid value. With this painting, most of my mid values are rather a light mid value. Not really a mid value. I don't like it too rough, but sometimes little textures happen that can be kind of fun. Okay, so there's just a wash of umber, and
You always use for your oil paintings an umber wash?
That's what I kind of morphed into that I like. And, except when I'm painting outdoors, you gotta go al prima,
Yeah.
Her eyes get a little big.
I like more control. I haven't figured that out by now. I'm a little bit of a control freak. But I can just barely see my drawing, so I'm gonna just kind of wing it a little bit. But from this point, it's since it's oil, it's not gonna dry really fast like the acrylic stuff does. So I'm gonna be able to take these brushes. Probably I could start with the paper towel. Let me start with the brush. I want to get a nice crisp edge around that bird. My lightest parts are right there.
Yes.
But first I'm going to redefine the shape. There's like light pale blue water back there, so I'm going to lift off brown, which is going to be a lighter value. I'm going to try to see where I had the leg. Start down here.
So is that just a plain brush, or do you have something in it?
No, it's just a plain brush to start. But because of this, it's still wet. This paint is still wet. You can just lift it with a dry brush. So I'm just like wiping off the paint where it's lighter.
So is it putting the umber on just to basically get rid of the white on your canvas?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. To start with the mid-tone, and then you can see your other values. Pull out the lights and lay in the darks. I don't, it's just one way of doing it, of oil paintings.
Do you have any difference? Because that's warm, but your picture there is all mostly cool.
Yeah.
Are you making use of
I'll
that?
finish it tomorrow with the oil paint. and then
But I
see
mean,
how-
are you making use of that, an opposite since that's cool?
Maybe. Well, also because this is going to dry overnight. So when I lay in the blues and stuff, they're going to go on pure. And they're not going to lift up the umber and muddy. They're not going to get muddied down by the umber. That's what I like about this method, is that it's the overnight, that, do the underpaintings one day, let them dry overnight, then go back and go almost just the same as I use with the pastel and the acrylic underpainting. Because this will dry completely before I put oil paint on it. If I was doing alla prima, I would start with low gold. I'd want like blue back here, and because I wouldn't want to get that muddy. So I do colors as I see them more. I think I brought this down too far. In a little while, I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to start using some of the turf to brighten up the light areas. Some parts of this now I'm kind of pushing and pulling my paint around here. I almost erased that leg, and then I just kind of moved it around to get it. That's how much of a control freak I am. but here again, the more that I do, the more detail I can capture with this underpainting, this value scale thing I'm doing here, the easier the color part's going to be. It's almost like here I'm creating the drawing with oil paint, and then tomorrow I'm just coloring it. Here I'm kind of using a little bit of a different brush strokes to maybe simulate some of that texture down there that he's standing in. I'm not too worried right now about the shape of that leg, the edges, because I'm going to lay that back in with the darker umber when I'm done lifting the lights up. See how just a little bit of the thinner really just picks that right up.
Back in the ones that we use for medium with water, would it do the same thing?
You mean the acrylic primers with water? Up to a point, yeah, depending on how hard you scrub. I've done it. I've taken like a terracotta area that was like a little mountain or hill in the background that I decided I didn't want it that dark. And I scrubbed most of it out. And I didn't get rid of all the terracotta, but I lightened it up as well as I wanted so that it was lighter.
Do you change the texture?
Well, if you scrub really hard, it can kind of not just lift the color, but lift all the tooth up too. So I just went back over it with the gold instead. But yeah, if ever you have anything in your head that, like, when you're at home and I'm not here anymore, you can ask me these questions. You can just ask them of yourself. I wonder if this will work. Try it. That's how I found out that, yeah, I can lift the terracotta, mostly, because I thought, I really don't like that, how am I going to get that lightened up? Well, let me see if I can scrub it off.
Well, could you mix just up a little bit of your base with a lighter color?
Well, because the light won't, if you have a lighter color that's opaque and you lay it over the terracotta, yeah, but then it won't be that gold, it won't be that same gold sort of glow, unless you went just with gesso and covered up your terracotta and then went over that again with the gold primer. But then you'd have probably a lot of texture going, a lot of tooth going on the texture. So that'd be something to try. Yeah.
the advantage of working small.
Yeah.
Go ahead and mess
Working small, you know, you can try stuff like that in little areas and it'll be really quick. Throw some pastel on one of these other things so you can see how I finish a pastel. Just lightening up some of this background watery. And I'm going in like the wavy patterns, but I'm not trying to be exact to the photo. I'm just using that sort of as a guide for my values and my patterns of what's going on back there. Probably at some point I can do this. I want the atmospheric perspective. It's going to get lighter. The top. See how the paper towel really gives you a shortcut for wiping out larger areas and getting a smoother sort of thing going on. Now you do have to kind of be careful when you're coming up on along the edges of your subject if you want to keep your crisp edges of the subject that you don't like overlap, mess up your lines. But if you do, you just go back in with some umber. But you know, then you're adding time. Then you're adding time onto your whole process, which this is about getting 7 paintings done each week, right? So anything you can do to speed up your process is going to be helpful. Okay, so there's some water value back there, and some sandy value up here. And the last thing I want to do here before I end on the lights is to really pick up more of that white. I want to get this way back down almost to the white of the white of the board. Sometimes I'll do this.
I did that this morning. Yeah.
Great minds.
I know.
We find a way to do what we need to do, don't we? It's so fun. You can really move oil paint around. It's so different from pastel. And some of this is already drying.
Yep.
Like I can touch that without smearing anything up, but if I turp it, it will come up. Okay, now I'm going to get the darker in there. I think that's too big. For these, I like a little bit of an angle brush. Because I find it gets me nice crisp edges on the top part, and it'll give me nice coverage for larger areas. So let's see. Some of this umber that's not too terribly bad. All right, first, the darkest part is this edge. I also like to really, I try not to have any super crisp edges. Because I don't want it to look, like a coloring book, paint by number thing, or like that. I want, so even this around the head, like here, over here is, I'm allowing it to be just the slightest bit feathery.